Good evening. TomTom is all about celebrating Charlottesville and supporting all of the exciting things that are happening here and telling great founding stories. I'm excited to share with you tonight one founding story that happened to take place in this very theater just 1 year ago. There were members of the biotech community having a very typical, casual conversation about how we could strengthen our local network and bring awareness to all of the amazing things that were happening within our own community. We saw the need, and we decided to do something about it. That's what TomTom's all about. We created a new organization called the CvilleBioHub. The Hub is an online platform for connecting the local life sciences community, providing pathways for growth for the future, and promoting all of the great science that's happening right here in our hometown. Central Virginia has the highest concentration of biotech companies across the state. You heard Mike Signer mention there are 50 companies working in the life sciences industry here. Many people are often surprised when they hear about that. We had a need in our community because unless you were a part of the biotech community or knew somebody within it, it was really difficult to get connected or find out what was happening here. We saw this often when UVA students would reach out and try to find new opportunities, or a trailing spouse who was seeking a job opportunity locally. How could they find out what was happening in biotech? We now have CvilleBioHub.org. This is an online resource where people can find out about all of the great companies. We've highlighted our 50 members. We are providing resources for those members as they're growing their companies from early stage to long-term growth companies. We're pushing out news content regularly, updating and sharing these stories that all of these great companies have. We're also highlighting all the events that are happening, and we're hosting our own events. We have monthly gatherings. In December, we hosted a Zika forum where we were promoting the 3 companies that are working on the Zika virus right here in Charlottesville. We're really excited about this opportunity to strengthen our local network. So who's in the hub? We have companies that are spanning the life sciences industry, everything from devices and instrumentation to therapeutics and vaccines. People are working on areas of very significant unmet need, and it's all happening in our own backyard. We have groups working on food and ag tech space as well. Why are all of these companies here in town? Well, UVA has been a major driver of the innovation and spinning out of these great ventures. Just since 2014, they've focused and supported 17 life sciences ventures, and they continue to drive innovation for the future. There's been a new $10 million seed fund established to drive innovation and continue to support the local biotech network and spinouts from the university. This is CvilleBioHub. I'd love to tell you all the great stories that each one of these companies has to offer, but I'm just going to highlight a few. Cavion is a pharmaceutical company working in oncology and neurological disorders. They just raised the single greatest investment from local, they just raised the greatest single investment in the life sciences industry across the state of Virginia, to the tune of $26.1 million. This is really amazing for our community, and they're going to be able to run their phase 2 clinical trials as a result. There's Ravenna Medical. They have a handheld ultrasound device for providing safe guidance of needles into the epidural space. This is a new and very innovative technology. There's Adial Pharmaceuticals. They are working in clinical trials on alcohol addiction. We have Type Zero, a company that has a diabetes platform using their artificial pancreas. And of course, there's Contraline, where we're working on developing a new male contraceptive. This is something I'm particularly excited about. Thank you. So let's dig into the data. We've collected data from all of these companies. It's all self-reported, but we're learning a lot. We've understood from the fundraising space that there's over $118 million over the past 5 years invested. We actually think this number is very conservative, But we know that there's a really large and supportive angel network here in Charlottesville that has helped these early stage companies. We've got private angels and now some newer organizations that are supporting these early stage companies, from Cav Angels, CIT, and the seed fund that I mentioned. For the long-term growth, though, there are some challenges in attracting venture capital funds to this area. CvilleBioHub can be part of that solution. Now we have a network, and we can bring awareness to the venture capital groups to show them what's happening here and get them excited. We think we can raise this number by 5-fold over the next 10 years. Regarding talent, there's a strong pool of talent here. 1,800 employees are in the hub. A lot of these companies are operating with less than 10 employees each, but that doesn't mean there's a lot of strength there. These are high-quality, high-paying jobs that are driving our local economy, well beyond just the single employment opportunity itself. We often talk in the biotech community about challenges that we have in recruiting top talent to this area. Himoshir would often talk about needing to relocate or draw from the Boston area to bring that talent in. And they have been very successful in bringing that talent here. The quality of life is amazing, and so that's not been the problem. Ultimately, it's about talent retention. How do we get people that are drawn to this area here for the long term? If we can raise the number of companies and increase our presence in the biotech community, talent retention for the long term will start to fade away. Space and infrastructure is one of my favorite conversations, and we have almost 400,000 square feet of space here in Charlottesville. Average lease rates are running at $15 to $25 a square foot, and you do compare that to what's happening in Boston, $80 to $90 a square foot. It's actually a steal to be operating your company here in Charlottesville. It's true, we do have bottlenecks for growth in infrastructure. Some of these small stage companies are trying to spin out from UVA and have significant infrastructure needs that are very specific, especially in the biotech community. These are not typical offices. We need wet lab space. We need an incubator that can help to bridge the gap for companies that are coming out of UVA until they find their home for long-term growth. We need Albemarle County to help support us for the long term, where they have land that they can build upon, and we look to them to help support us in this need. In total, our vision for 2027 is to double our metrics. We think we can bring in 100 companies here, have a stronger presence, bring in $500 million in addition, $1 million of square feet of space, a life sciences incubator that's closely connected to the University of Virginia and PVCC, and we'd love to see major exits, major successes that are going to drive the sustainability of our community. We'd love to see FDA approvals, acquisitions, and IPOs that will help us for the long-term growth. Our long-term retention talent will start to fade away if we can achieve all of this in our vision. And Charlottesville will become the next leader in biotech innovation. Here are our co-founding members of the CvilleBioHub, for which this would not be possible, our partner Storyware, and our sponsors. But now that we have this network, we look to you, our community, people with really amazing talents and opportunity to help support this new nonprofit organization. Help us in whatever way that you can to build our vision and achieve it by 2027. Thank you.